What's up and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be ranking the top 5 best non-unique guns in Borderlands 2. Now, the only criteria for today is that it cannot have red text or anything that sets it apart from random loot that you can find anywhere in the game. So no unkempt heralds, the orphan maker, all of the typical pieces of gear that you see on a lot of characters are ineligible on today's list. All items can be obtained through any random loot source in the game, meaning that they can practically drop from anywhere if you're lucky enough. And with that, let's just go ahead and dive straight into it. Coming in at our number 5 spot, we have a sniper rifle that can come in any rarity, from a common or white piece of gear all the way up to an epic or purple piece of gear, and it is the Snider. A Maliwan Snider is obtainable from anywhere in the game, and it's one that's always been a dark horse weapon in the community, as veterans have been taking advantage of this beast for years on years, but there's still a large part of the player base that only sees meta items like the Sandhawk and Pimpernel as viable options. And this has been disproven for about half a decade, if not longer at this point. What it comes down to is something that I've discussed in my top 5 tips for new players, and I even think I discussed it in the top 5 mistakes that new players make as well. In Borderlands, you need to try new things, and a non-unique like the Snider is the perfect way to start. They start to drop around level 10 and onwards, making it a weapon you will likely see and use multiple times throughout your game. It's also got super high elemental effect chance with great elemental damage as well. I also want to mention that it can come in any element except for explosive, and with it being a super common item, I see no reason for players to not take advantage of it. It's a monster, and it is essentially a non-unique version of the Pimpernel sniper rifle, one of the most powerful guns in the game if you're not aware. I don't know what more I could say other than that it works great on any character, but it is best with a Sniper Zero. Definitely pick one up if you haven't already. Now, this next one is probably going to spark an argument for it to be a little bit higher on the list, but I think personally you're going to get just a little more use out of the weapons that we're going to talk about just a little bit later on. With that being said, coming in at our number 4 spot, it is the Topia, an E-Tech launcher that can come in any element except for explosive. This one is best farmed from the Haterax chest, as it gives E-Tech launchers like there's no tomorrow. But if you don't have the Commander Lilith's Fight for Sanctuary DLC, the best place is going to be the Snowman chest. But I recommend, if you're farming that train chest in the Marcus's Mercenary DLC, that you should do so in Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, the final playthrough, as normal and true Vault Hunter mode chests are not near as good in terms of odds. And what I mean by that is the RNG for it to actually roll an E-Tech rocket launcher. This is easily an S-tier rocket launcher that has basically been deemed as the mini Norfleet, as its bullet spread is very similar, with a damage output only outdone by only a few other launchers in this game. Its insane fire rate, good elemental DPS, makes it a must-have for quick mobbing, especially because the Norfleet is no easy task to obtain. I've also never really had an issue finding a Topia, but with it being an E-Tech, you're not going to see them quite as often as the snipers that we were just talking about, or even our next placement. But overall, it's an amazing rocket launcher and a go-to before you get yourself a Norfleet. Coming in at our number 3 spot, this one's a Vladof sniper that can come in any element, of course, except for explosive. And it is the Droo. But there's one thing different about it compared to the other guns that we've discussed so far, and that's the fact that it can also come in no element, making it factually the most versatile weapon on this entire list, as even the rest of our list here today can't come in that many elements and drop without one, while also having some crazy DPS for a non-unique item. Mix that with a really clean fire rate, decent elemental effect chance, and DPS. It's just an all-around solid-ass automatic sniper rifle in Borderlands 2. And every time I see one drop, I'd be lying if I said I didn't get a little shit grin on my face. Because when I see a Droog, I know one thing, and it's that everything is about to get destroyed. The Droog also starts dropping super early on, and I want to say it's as soon as like level 7 or 8, making it the fastest and easiest to obtain out of all of our guns here today. So, if you haven't used enough of this gun, go get one and fix that. And coming in at our number 2 spot, we have an E-Tech SMG manufactured by Tor, and it is the Plasma Caster. While all of the Plasma Casters are pretty decent in their own right, it's the Tor equivalent that I'm very fond of. While the Maliwan variant is also super solid, it's outclassed by the ones manufactured by Tediore. Not only are they the strongest out of all of the plasma casters, but they also just look the cleanest in my opinion. Something about that carbon fiber skin just makes me go, oh shit. But when it comes to this nearly perfect SMG, I want to say that the Tediore throws are what knocks it above the Maliwan caster, as the damage you receive from this weapon's reload throws is absolutely absurd for a standard E-Tech. It's got decent damage over time and really nice DPS to go along with it. But for me, when it comes to the E-Tech rarity, these are by far my favorite to use, as they are not only phenomenal in the late game, but they can handle well on any Vault Hunter, and I'd even argue that the Tediore Plasma Caster would make a run for the best SMG in the game. Now obviously it wouldn't place number 1 on that list, but I think it definitely ranks well against the top contenders. The best place I find to grab these is in the Snowman chest. I feel like I see them here all the time, so if you're looking for a Tediore Plasma Caster, look no further than the Marcus's Mercenary DLC, or maybe grab some shift codes online and try your luck with the loot chest in Sanctuary. Alright, now it's time for our honorable mentions, and our first one isn't any weapon in specific, because I believe that they all can pull off what you're going to need it for. And what I'm talking about is Bandit rocket launchers. No matter where you're at in the game or which one you get, these things are amazing for second wins. If you're going in to fight for your life and you have a Bandit launcher, you're more than likely going to be just fine. And while I'm not a big fan of the Bandit manufacturer in general, I can't deny the power of Bandit launchers. The next one is the little brother of our number 1 spot, and yes, it is the Bushwack. This one can come in any rarity from green all the way up to purple. Shooting 3 bullets a shot, this is essentially a triple barrel shotgun. On top of that, these can also be found super early on, and it's usable on every single Vault Hunter. I'd say that Gage and Sal get the most use out of it, but it's nothing to skip over even if you're playing somebody else. Now, I personally love Jacob's shotguns, so this being a triple barrel, it's basically Hellfire's match made in heaven. So if you don't already have one of these in your inventory, or you're not in possession of our number 1 spot, it's definitely one to look out for. And coming in at our number 1 spot, it is the funnest Jacob shotgun of all time. Was there ever any doubt? It is the quad. Man, where do I even start? It is by a landslide, for me personally, the funnest shotgun in Borderlands 2. You can get a rare or epic version, which is blue or purple if you didn't know, with a special gold variant from Butt Stallion and Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. But I personally see this pretty often throughout my playthroughs, and I'm never disappointed when I pick it up. Shooting 4 bullets per shot, it's essentially like sticking 2 double barrel shotguns together to create a quad barrel. And if you heard what I said about the Bushwack, I think you know how much I love this thing. While there are some other quad barrel shotguns in the game, in my opinion, none of them can outclass the Jacobs quad. Although I will say the Tor Ravager is a solid second choice if you happen to see it. Definitely scoop it up. But when it comes to the quad, this weapon is literally great across all of the characters in the game. And usually, even a bad quad is better than most shotguns, easily outclassing the legendary Striker shotgun, and it honestly makes me sad that the Striker barrel is locked. Because if that gun could spawn with the barrel that the quad has, it would be a top tier shotgun. But unfortunately, it's locked with a Hyperion barrel, making it far weaker than the non-unique quad that we're talking about here today. So if you're asking me, if you're looking for a solid shotgun, maybe just skip the Striker farm and go for a quad. It can come in a purple or blue variant, and of course the purple is better, but both are solid options, and especially on a broken ass Salvador. But like I said, you can get great use out of this one across all of the characters, and I don't think I've ever just left a quad on the ground while building a new character. And I think if you see one in your game, that you should do the same. But what do you guys think? Are there any non-uniques that you think should have made the list? Please let me know down in the comments below. Or even if you guys have any new top 5 ideas, I'd love to hear those as well. The playlist with all of the top 5 is going to be on the end screen, but that's going to do it for me today, guys. I really do hope you all did enjoy it, and if you did, please make sure to smash a like on it and subscribe if you fuckers are new. Drop a follow on Twitter, I'll leave that in the description as well. But most importantly, remember that I love you all to death. I want you to take it easy out there, stay safe, and with that, I will see you all in the next one.